We're going to talk about the SWIFT XRP, the rumors that XRP may be partnering with SWIFT in secret. There's a lot of rumors right now that XRP and SWIFT are working together. Now, there's people out there that saying that there's evidence that SWIFT is secretly testing integration of Ripple's XRP ledger with the SWIFT system, which is what we thought was going to happen anyway. A lot of analysts there's reports starting to come up from the SWIFT network, a lot of DLT reports that are saying that XRP and SWIFT are somehow working together. There's a lot of evidence and a lot of signs that this is happening under the surface. And the timing is strategic because we're on the cusp right now of an XRP ETF. Now, if you guys remember, on a poly market, a few months ago, it was a 30-40% chance that there was going to be a XRP ETF. Now it's up to 75% before the end of 2025. Now, Ripple is expanding its traditional financial presence. We all know, I've been talking about it for 2-3 days, is that they just bought Hit and Rolled, which processes about, they paid $1.25 billion for it, processes about $3 trillion in assets and currency. And they're going to move that onto the XRP ledger. And they're also going to convert the currencies that Hit and Rolled uses over to RLUSD. Now, this is a built-in demand for XRP. So all of these things are very strategic that's happening right now. The SEC is moving to dismiss the lawsuit officially against Ripple. That's going to signal a major legal win for the company. Ripple just spent $1.25 billion to buy a company called Hit and Rolled. It's a prime broker that moves $3 trillion a year. It's not a partnership, it's an ownership. Hit and Roll's $10 billion in daily trades will now be moved to start settling on the XRP ledger. Real institutional money is going to move on the XRP infrastructure, $10 billion a day. RLUSD will be used as collateral across Hit and Roll's products, becoming the first stablecoin to bridge traditional and digital markets with what's called cross-margining. Each trade will be settled on XRPL, and to settle the trade through the XRPL ledger, you'll have to pay a fee in XRP. And each client will need RLUSD, and also to transfer RLUSD, you need XRP. This is a direct built-in demand from major institutions. And it happened over the last few days. Nobody's talking about this. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And please drop a comment. Please let your friends know about the show. XRPL offers instant low-cost settlements versus the slow, inexpensive traditional system. Ripple is now giving institutions a better option. And it's going to push the price of XRP to that $8 mark. It's going to help. It's not going to be the only factor or catalyst, but it will help. By acquiring an already trusted broker, Ripple instantly gains credibility and access to institutional clients who already move billions and even trillions of dollars. With more than 300 large financial clients, it plays a major role in the traditional finance world. Now that Ripple has acquired Hit and Rolled, here's the big question. What happens if some of that massive transaction volume starts flowing through Ripple's network? And what if XRP is used to move all that money? Ripple has already said that a significant chunk of these transactions will start using the XRP ledger right away. But things get really interesting when we imagine what would happen if all $3 trillion goes through XRP. To figure this out, I used AI to build a model using something called the quantity theory of money. Basically, it tried to estimate how much each XRP token would be worth if it had to handle all of Hit and Roll's transaction volume. Here's how it was broken down. There are about 58.33 billion XRP tokens available, but let's assume 10% of those are locked up by big institutions, leaving around 52.5 billion in circulation. We can also assume that each token is used about 10 times a year, which makes sense for a fast payment network like XRP. Using those numbers, we calculate that the total value, or market cap, needed to support $3 trillion in transactions would be $300 billion. Divide that by the available XRP tokens, and you get a price of about $5.71 per XRP. But there's more. Now here's the kicker. We anticipate that sentiment will rise along with demand from institutions and banks, so we will have to apply a multiplier. Let's use 5, which is actually on the lower side.
That would give us a price of $28.55 per XRP token, which is over 12 times higher than the current price of around $2.
And this is a structural shift. This is not just news. This is not just something, this is actually a big deal. And I'm surprised that nobody's really talking about this. This is the first time this has ever happened where traditional and decentralized finance have a currency, a bridge currency or a bridge technology in the middle that actually bridges the two. This has never happened before.
Now, I want to talk about why XRP is about to explode through the rest of 2025. I'm talking about three major catalysts that are unfolding right now, and they're each powerful enough to send XRP's price through the roof. For decades, SWIFT has been the king of cross-border payments. But let's be honest, it's slow, expensive, and stuck in the past. Some payments take days, even a week, just to settle. Ripple moves money around the world and it does it in seconds, using XRP as the fuel. And here's where it gets even crazier. Ripple is now leading the BIS Cross-Border Payments Task Force. The Bank for International Settlements, the central bank for all the world's central banks, is working directly with Ripple. This is real adoption at the top level of global finance. And when institutions follow that lead, XRP becomes the backbone of how money moves around the world. Now let's talk ETFs, because XRP is lining up for one of the biggest moves in crypto history. Polymarket has a 73% chance a spot XRP ETF will receive approval from the SEC by the end of 2025. But I'm going to say it right now, I think the chances are even higher. Grayscale has already filed their application. And get this, the SEC's decision is due May 22nd. If this gets approved, XRP will be available to every financial advisor, every retirement fund, every big investor looking to get in on crypto without touching an exchange. And you know what happens when institutions rush in? This will create a demand shock, causing astronomical price increases. This can make XRP one of the hottest assets of 2025. But now, let's talk about the biggest weight that's held XRP down for years. The SEC lawsuit. Ripple's been locked in a legal fight with the SEC for 4 long years. That fight got XRP delisted. It kept it out of U.S. portfolios. It froze institutional interest. But here's the big update. Ripple's CEO just said the SEC is expected to drop its final appeal. This means the case is basically done. No more legal clout, no more uncertainty. XRP is stepping out of the shadows, and that changes everything. Exchanges in the US could relist XRP, brokerages could add it to platforms, crypto funds could load up, and even US banks could start using XRP to move money across borders. Now imagine Ripple linking up with Bank of America, JP Morgan, any of the giants already exploring blockchain. 2005 will be the year that XRP steps into its role as a global financial utility.
This is why I believe that XRP is going to the $8 mark. Now, a lot of people say, how is it possible? We go back to the concept of that anchor bias, right? Is that I still think XRP is going to 8 up. Now, why would I say that? Now, I've been in this a long time. If we look back in history, Bitcoin 2017, beginning of the year, Bitcoin was at $1,000 in January of that year. I remember back then people were saying that's high as Bitcoin can ever get. Bitcoin's upper limit was 1,000 because of market cap, because that would make it more than all these stocks. Bitcoin at 1,000 put it ahead of a lot of the stock market and a lot of brands that you know. The market cap was bigger at $1,000. Right now, Bitcoin's market cap is almost as big as like some huge, almost big, like it's big as most major companies now. But there was at that time, it was bigger than like 30% of companies when it reached 1,000. People saying there's no way Bitcoin could be worth more than these companies. No way. And they said it was market cap concerns that Bitcoin can never get there. So Bitcoin was 1,000 in January of 2017. By the end of 2017, it was 20,000. People never would have expected that to happen. A 20 times increase in 1 year. And all we're asking for with XRP is a 4 times increase. All we're asking for with Ethereum is a 5 times. All we ask for with Bitcoin is a 3 times increase. It's not even that much. And then people say, well, that was 2017. That's a long time ago. That doesn't happen anymore. Well, let's go back to the last cycle, 2021. Solana, 2021 started out January at 150. By the end of that year, it was 260, 170 times growth. Now, we're not asking for 170. We're not asking for every dollar we put in to turn to 170. Well, all we're asking for is XRP this year to get to $8 to $10. These pale in comparison to what these things did before. Now let's talk about another one, Avalanche. Now we're not gonna talk about meme coins. We're talking about main staple coins that are in the top 20. Avalanche 2021, it was 350 in January. By the end of the year, it was 146, 40 times returns in 1 year. Now all we're asking for, we're not asking for 40, we're asking for 5 times, 6 times. Polygon, Matic they ran into some trouble recently, but back then in 2021, it was a cent. In January, by the end of that year, it was $2.70, a 270 times move. And all we're asking for is 3 with Bitcoin, 5 with Ethereum, and 4 or 5 times with XRP. When these things start to move, they move fast, they move crazy, they move unexpectedly. People are shocked when these things happen because, once again, of the anchor bias is that people cannot, whatever's happening now, they cannot see the future. They can't see past today. But the people who can see past today are the ones that make the most money. We got another super chat. The USC XRP going to 20 this cycle. If XRP goes to 20, it'll be sometime next year. It could go to 20, but my target this year was 8 to 12. But it could go to 20. I don't know. But if that happened to be sometime in 2026, but it could. I could be shooting too short. But remember, I said these things back when XRP was like 20 cents. So I could be shooting too short, but I'm going to stick with my initial prediction. Somebody else, we got a super chat, $20. I appreciate you, Guyver. Thank you, Armando. I bought XRP at 45 cents because you. I have 10,000 coins and sold some change. It changed my life, paid off all my bills, debt that I owed, catch up my rent. Now me and my wife can start our assisted living business. I really like to hear that. Also, I think it was smart that you paid off some debt with the money instead of going out and having a fabulous vacation. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. I appreciate you and hope to see you on Wednesday.